Shalom Akim. I'm going to give all praises and glory to Yahweh, Bashem, Yahushai, Bashem, Rakakadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of GMS who teach and rule well. And salutations to all the Akim, all four corners of earth who's pushing this truth and sincerity. Shalom Akim. We're going to get into this, what's going on over in on the west coast of Africa, Nigeria. It says PFN maintains Christian genocide claim, seeks Trump's help. One thing about our people, they love to call on, the Pharaoh for help. They love Pharaoh, man. They can't get enough of Pharaoh. Pharaoh shows them his naked white ass, and they still love to kiss it, man. And this is what it is. It's going on over in Nigeria. Trump first was sending them back left and right. He got in the UN and was talking crazy about the Nigerians, and now he wants to lend out an olive branch, so to speak, But Esau has a reputation of doing that, man. He comes in for a reason. I've done videos and if I was showed in the past that that under Obama, or I want to say under Bush, they started Africa Calm, where they were in the interior part. We've done videos, we showed you proof. You've seen the child mine diggers, so to speak, that go down looking for that cobalt rock. I might be pronouncing it wrong, but it's the rock that they use for our cell phones and for our GPS and those different types of things, man. They showed you the kids that were out there mining and looking for those rocks, those different pebbles and stuff, and that was in certain parts on the West Coast, man. But Esau has always had a foothold in the interior West Coast of Africa, man, because he knows that he can stir up a lot of shit over there, with the Boko, how you pronounce that name? Their little made up insurrection group, the ones that's killing these Christians. There's nothing more than Esau in his plan, man. What he's doing, man, he's a master at hiding himself. But because you want to ask for help, it's Isaiah 30:1. Woe to the rebellious children, saith the Lord, that take counsel, but not of me, and that cover with a covering, but not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin. They walk to go down into Egypt, and have not asked at my mouth, to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh, and to trust in the shadow of Egypt. So this is who you trusted, man, But once again, I gave you reasons why, Jake should not be trusting Esau, but at the same time, man, it just is what it is, man. Keep in mind, Esau is in control of the earth. So he has our people under a veil, man, Truthfully, it's the Lord that has them under a veil, man. The Lord has our people blinded to the fact that this man is nothing but a wasted away a killer, man. Isaiah 30:3. Therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame, and the trust in the shadow of Egypt your confusion, man. So it's more confusion happening over anything. A few years ago, when Obama was in office, he was trying to send aid to the West Coast, but he told them they had to get down with his politics. And what was his politics? His LGBTQ lifestyle, man. So every time you call on to, Pharaoh for help, man, Pharaoh tells you got to do something grievous, man. You got to do something to get right, man. And it ain't coming easy. Getting in bed with this devil, making deals with this devil. That's our people love to do that, man. And that will be the downfall of them, man. John 10:10, the thief cometh not but for to steal and to kill and to destroy, I am come that they may have life and that they may have it more abundantly, man. So you're not seeking out the Holy One of Israel. You're seeking out Esau, man, the wasted away, the one who controls the earth, the one who's done nothing but wicked upon the earth, man. The one who has you in the position that you're in. Those Muslims killing those Christians are nothing more than the Boko Haram. I might be pronouncing it wrong, man. But the Muslim group that they got over on the west coast of Africa is set up just like the Al Qaeda was set up, man. The proof is right there, man. You know, they just sprung up out of nowhere. Uh, Previous to me being in the truth, I remember talking to some of my family members over in Nigeria, and I used to ask them, you know, how did Islam not come completely down? And he said, for years we fought wars against the Muslim invaders. You know, if they took over North Africa, we couldn't let them come down to the West Coast and impose that Muslim on us, that Islam on us. But in certain parts of Nigeria, there is on the northern part, you know, they are, you know, Islam. You know, and Islam runs that area. You know, and that's because they fell to Ishmael. You know, or got invaded by their own. You know, because for a long time, when you look at the map of North Africa, you know, coming across North Africa, coming to the West Coast part, you know, there was wars for centuries over there because Islam was trying to spread down into the West Coast interior part, man, and they were fighting against that, man. You know. Yeah, but at the end of the day, you got to keep in mind too that you know they got that African calm, they got these African nations over there, you know, and you know they're sick and tired of Esau's control. You know, even though he has that shotgun diplomacy, which he rules with, you know, they're sick and tired. This is Joel 3:9. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. Prepare war. Wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up. Beat your plowshares into plow hooks and your plow hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. You know, and that was the basic point that I wanted to get to, man. Let the weak say, I am strong, man. You know, because once again, you know, when you think about the West Coast of Africa, in the Western eyes, you know, they're uncivilized, they're monkeys, they're subhuman. That's the word they love to use on us, subhuman. You know, we're closer to primates. They love to say that. You know, but when you look at it in all actuality, it's Esau that's closer to primates with his lips and ears and shit in his facial expressions he makes. You know? But yeah, let the weak say I am strong, man. So, and another thing we got to keep in mind, man, the natural resources. That's one of the main things that keeps, you know, Trump up at night and his cronies ready to invade at the drop of a dime, man. You know, because of those natural resources over there, man. You know, we know that oil, as soon as you drill a stick in the ground in certain parts of the northern part of Nigeria, oil's coming straight out the ground. Once again, that adds on to the point why Ishmael is over there, for that oil, you know? Also, once again, Nigeria has more than just oil. You know, they have those rocks, those natural resources. They have gold all through there. You know, it's a very resourceful country. And Trump knows this, man. He knows this. I remember years ago I was watching Vice. I used to watch the Vice News a lot, and they were showing the different warlords in Nigeria. They were fighting the Exxon and Shell Mobil companies that were coming over there, just extracting all sorts of oil out of the ground. And then when they would leave, they would just leave it messy. And so the village couldn't even use the water in that. It was all contaminated. The land was contaminated. You couldn't put anything into the ground because it was all oil, you know? It was raw, crude oil. It was so bad that the warlords, and they're not really warlords, they're there protecting their land, you know, but in Esau's terminology, Esau, he controls the media, he calls them warlords. And, you know, they were over there, they said, man, look, man, if the world needs what we got over here so bad, man, bump Shell and Exxon, what we're going to do is we're going to go cut into their pipelines and extract the oil from them and go sell it in the cities and stuff. And that's what they were doing. That's how they were making the money. They were making a living. So on the flip side, reverse, you know, you had to have the Exxon have paramilitary guys over there. You know, they had their own paid hitters over there, you know. All in the control of Esau. This is the things that happen, man. Plain and simple, man. 1 Thessalonians 5:3, for when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travaileth upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. You know, so Esau loves to say that peace, peace, man. You know, I come in peace, man. I come in peace. You know, it's tons of movies, and that's another thing. Once again, Esau loves to play the narrative and put his information in movies and Dare You to Believe It, put it in shows and Dare You to Believe It, you know. But yeah, that peace, and sudden destruction comes, man. You know. So while they're sitting back calling for Trump and calling for help, man, Trump sees dollar signs and blood in his eyes, man. You know, Nero sees these things, man. You want to continuously call on Pharaoh for help? This is the things that come with Pharaoh's help, man. You know, blood, death, and destruction, man. He has a track record of it. He makes movies about it. He makes landmarks of it. You know. Then later on, when he gets older, he'll have his grandkids come up and they'll laugh about the situations, man. You know, take pictures about the situations. They love to glory in another man's failure, especially you Israelites. I'm speaking about, you know, because you're the ones the most hated. But yeah, I just wanted to bring this out, man, because like they were saying, man, what is going on? Salaki. But yeah, I just wanted to bring that out. But with that being said, fine. Shalom, Akim. The fuck is